Genesis 47:13-31. In the course of the years, there was no grain at all in the land, for the famine was very severe. And the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. Joseph gathered in all the money that was to be found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, as payment for the rations that were being procured. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's palace. And when the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and from the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, "Give us bread. Why should we die in your presence? For our money has run out." Then Joseph said, "Bring your livestock, and I will sell to you against your livestock, if money has run out." So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, for flocks and cattle, and for asses. Thus he provided them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. When that year ended, they came to him the next year and said to him, "We cannot hide from my lord, that with all the money and animal stocks consigned to my lord, nothing is left at my lord's disposal except our persons and our farmland. Why should we die before your very eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we with our land will be serfs to Pharaoh. Provide the seed that we may live and not die, and that the land may not become a waste." So Joseph acquired all the farmland of Egypt for Pharaoh, for each Egyptian sold his field because the famine was too much for them. Thus the land passed over to Pharaoh, and he removed the population town by town, from one end of Egypt's border to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not acquire, for the priests had an allotment from Pharaoh, and they ate from their allotment that Pharaoh had given them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, "Since I have acquired you and your land today for Pharaoh, here is seed for you to sow the land. And when harvest comes, you shall give a fifth to Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, as seed for the field, and as food for you and those in your households, and as nourishment for your children." And they said, "You have saved our lives. We are grateful to my lord, and we shall be serfs to Pharaoh." So Joseph made it a statute, valid to this day, concerning the land of Egypt, a fifth shall belong to Pharaoh. Only the land of the priests did not become Pharaoh's. Psalm 55:1-8, for the leader, with string music, a maskil of David. Attend, O God, to my prayer. Do not hide from my plea. Give heed to me and answer me. I am distraught by my thoughts, and I am terrified by the voice of the enemy, because they bring crime upon me and assail me with fury. My heart is convulsed within me. Death terrors have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling beset me. Horror envelops me. And I say, if I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and find rest. I would wander afar. I would lodge in the wilderness forever. I would soon find me a refuge from the raging wind, from the destructive tempest. Proverbs 17:26. Also, to punish the righteous is not good, nor to flog officials for their integrity. Proverbs 18:5. To be partial to the faces of the wicked is not good, nor to deprive the innocent of justice. Matthew 22:34-46. But the Pharisees, when they heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, gathered themselves together. One of them, a lawyer, asked him a question, testing him. "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. A second likewise is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The whole law and the prophets depend on these 2 commandments." Now while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them a question, saying, "What do you think of the Christ? Whose son is he?" They said to him, "Of David." He said to them, "How then does David in the Spirit call him Lord, saying, 'The Lord said to my Lord, sit on my right hand, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet'? If then David calls him Lord, How is he his son?" No one was able to answer him a word. Neither did any man dare ask him any more questions from that day forward. Mark 12:28-37 from the World English Bible. One of the scribes came and heard them questioning together. Knowing that he had answered them well, asked him, "Which commandment is the greatest of all?" Jesus answered, "The greatest is, Hear, Israel, the Lord our God. The Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. The second is like this: You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." The scribe said to him, "Truly, teacher, you have said well that he is one, and there is none other but he, and to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more important than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices." When Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from God's kingdom." No one dared ask him any question after that. Jesus responded, as he taught in the temple, "How is it that the scribes say that the Christ is David's son? For David himself said in the Holy Spirit, 'The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies the footstool of your feet.' Therefore David himself calls him Lord, so how can he be his son?" The common people heard him gladly. Luke 20:41-44. He said to them, "Why do they say that the Christ is David's son? For David himself says in the book of Psalms, 'The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand, until I make your enemies the footstool of your feet.' David therefore calls him Lord, so how can he be his son?"